Today and tomorrow we are going to talk about section 7.2. On Monday we will review, and on Tuesday we will have a quiz over 7.1 and 7.2. 7.1 was all about adding and subtracting polynomials. 7.2 is going to be about multiplying polynomials. Today we'll keep it pretty easy, and we are just going to multiply a polynomial by a monomial. Monomial means how many terms? One. And polynomial in general just means more than
30.
It can, but polynomials do include binomials and trinomials. So we'll see some binomials, trinomials, and polynomials all multiplied by monomials. Need more time before we get to our warm-ups? Okay. Our warm-ups ask us to simplify these. So on 1 and 2, what does that mean I need to do? Distribute. On number 1, I'm distributing 2. 2 times a would be written how? 2a. I would treat this 4 as a minus or negative 4. So 2 times negative 4 is a negative 8. So I'd put minus 8. Can I combine those terms?
No.
No, why not?
Because they're not like terms.
Okay, not like terms. One of them has a variable, the other one does not. Number 2, again, we need to distribute. Negative 3 times 4 would be negative 12. Then we have to do, what is it?
Positive 15.
Close?
3 times negative 5.
Yes. Positive 15x.
Miss Barry, you be saying close, so you just missing out on things.
Yes, because you were close. All you were missing was the x. So negative 3 times negative 5x would be positive 15x. Again, we cannot combine those because they are not like terms. On number 2, is that considered to be in standard form?
No.
No, because we would want the x term to come first. So if I did need to put that in standard form, what would it look like?
15x.
Good. 15x minus 12. Bless you. The directions didn't say we had to do that, but it's a good habit to be in. All right, 3 and 4 bring back some of our exponent rules that we covered earlier. On number 3, if I'm multiplying the same base, what do I do to the exponents?
You
Add them, so I would get x to the 6th power. On number 4, we've got an exponent outside of parentheses. 15x to the what? 16x to the 6. Okay, so we give that exponent to everything inside. The 4 gets squared. X cubed gets squared. 4 squared is 4 times 4, so 16. On the x, we're taking an exponent to another exponent. Power to a power means we multiply the exponents, get x to the 6th. Questions, concerns about any of these? What's new today is we're going to use our distributive property and our rules of exponents. We're going to combine them together. Anybody need more time with the warm-ups? Okay. In our little notes, by using the distributive property and the rules of exponents, you can easily multiply a polynomial by a monomial. Remember, when you multiply monomials, you must add the exponents. Okay, so we just need to use our distributive property And then our rules of exponents. I'm going to, on some of these, show more steps than I would require you to show later on, just so that you understand where this stuff is coming from. So when we distribute the y on the outside of the parentheses to everything inside, we're first taking y times what? Y, and we're also taking y times -2. So I'm going to write it like this for now.
So will it be y to the second power?
Very good. Y times y is y squared. And what is y times -2?
-2 to what?
-2
Y.
y. Okay, so this middle step here that I put, I'm not necessarily going to require to see that all the time, but that's what we're doing when we distribute. Can I combine y squared minus 2y?
No.
No. Even though they both have y's, the y's do not have the same exponent, which makes them not like terms.
It's in standard form.
And it is in standard form, so we can just leave our answer right there. On number 2, what am I distributing?
The
X squared. So I'm taking x squared times x, and I'm taking x squared times 1. X squared times x would be
X cubed.
x to the third, or x cubed. X squared times 1 is 1x squared. And is that 1x squared positive or negative? Positive, so I'll use a plus sign. You do not have to put the 1 in front of the x squared. You could write it as x cubed plus x squared without the 1, and it would be the same thing. I would accept either answer. Again, this one is already in standard form. They cannot combine because the exponents don't match. All right, 3 and 4 get a little more interesting. On number 3, what are we distributing? Okay, -a to the third gets distributed. So -a to the third is getting multiplied by what? A to the fourth. -a to the third is also getting multiplied by what else? A to the second power. So we need to be careful when we do this. Negative a cubed times positive a to the fourth. What would that get me? Very good. A negative times a positive is a negative. When we multiply the same base, we add the exponents. Okay, again back here we've got negative a cubed times 8a squared.
Negative a to the fifth power.
Negative 8a to the fifth power. Negative times a positive is a negative. We add the exponents on the a's. We have questions about that one? So this would be our final answer. We're good so far? On number 4, the only real difference here is that now we have to distribute to how many terms?
3.
3 of them. So we're distributing to all the terms in the parentheses. So negative 3b times 2b squared, negative 3b times positive 4b, and negative 3b times negative 1.
Okay. Negative 6b to the third.
Negative 6b to the third. Then what?
Negative 12b to the square.
Squared. Good. And last?
Negative.
Careful.
Positive 3b.
Positive 3b. Okay. Can any of those terms be combined?
Oh, yeah. No.
No, they all have different exponents on their b's. So cubed, squared, 1.
It's already in standard form.
It's already in standard form. Do we have questions about any of our coefficients, any of our exponents, any of our signs? Those tend to be the big things that get people confused on these problems. Feel good about all of it? Have it copied down? Ready for me to change slides? Okay. Let's do 5 together, and then I'll give you a little time to try some of the other ones. Okay, 4x squared is getting distributed. Oh, keep switching my pen on me. Into how many terms? 3 terms. 4x squared gets multiplied by 5x squared. 4x squared gets multiplied by negative 2xy. Keep that sign with it. And 4x squared gets multiplied by y squared. Somebody other than Jasha, help me out with multiplying. Jermila? 20x to the 4th. And then the y stays with it. And then last. Yep. And then that should get what sign? Adding. Good. A plus sign because it was positive. Well, the thing about standard form is that we usually only do standard form or worry about it when we have how many variables?
2. I mean 1.
1. Since we have 2 variables, we won't worry too much about standard form. This probably would be how you would see it in most textbooks. Do we have questions about how we got here? We're sure. Okay, so remember this middle line that I've been writing is not always necessary. I'm just trying to get you used to where we're coming up with these polynomials from. So take a few minutes and try some of the rest of the problems on the page. Some of them might get a little more complicated when they involve multiple variables. But give them a try and we'll talk about some of them in a few minutes.
So you just want to...
All right, can anybody tell me what they got for 6 that I have not heard from yet today? Dominic?
Minus 5a to the 5th plus 10a to the 4th plus 5a cubed.
Very good. Okay, when we distribute, that is what we should have gotten. Do we have questions about how Dominic got there? You have a question about this one?
I have to answer.
Answer the next one. No questions on 6?
No.
We all agreed?
Yes.
Ready to move on to the next slide? Okay. Who wants to tell me what they got on number 7?
Just picking.
Could just start picking on people. No volunteers. I just have to pick somebody for number 7.
I want to do number 8, but I can do number 7 too.
Well, we gotta take turns.
Boy.
All right, Alexis. It sounds like you know number 7.
No, she was telling me.
He has
No, she knows. She has the right answer.
Oh, you gotta get it up. Get it up high. Liam wants to do number 7. What is it, Liam?
4y to the third minus
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's try that again, Liam.
4y to the third minus 8y to the second plus 4y.
Okay, do we agree with Liam on number 7?
Yes, I do.
We should when we distribute 4y. I agree that is what we would get. All right, Jaysha wanted number 8.
6p to the third, q to the third,
Okay.
minus 3p to the second, q to the second.
Q to the
Second, right? No, wait.
You're close. This Q is to the second, and this one is to the.
The third.
Okay, so Q to the third.
Plus 15, p, q to the third. I mean, 4.
Q to the 4. Okay, so that one gets a little tricky when we have 2 variables. So if you need to write it out. So if you were to need to write that one out one step at a time, you could do that. 3pq squared gets multiplied by 2p squared q. That's where we got the 6p cubed q cubed. It was right here. Okay, then in the middle, I'll change colors for that one. This middle term would have come from 3pq squared times negative pq. So that's why it turned minus. Okay, still have to add the exponents. If they don't have an exponent, we know that it really has an exponent of 1. And then that last term came from 3pq squared times 5q squared. Questions, concerns about number 8? 8's probably the trickiest one we've had to do so far. Okay, no other questions before we move on to 9 and 10?
I think
Oh, we're gonna have to keep taking turns. We
I
don't-
know, but
Oh,
I'm just close.
oh. Andrew, you got number 9 for us? All right.
14a to the fourth b minus 35a to the second, or yeah, b to the fourth plus 7a to the fourth, b to the second, c to the first.
Wait, how you get the 4th on a to the third? I mean, a to the 4th. It's me, a to the third.
So on the very end, I would agree a squared times a would give us a to the third. And then, yes, the b would be squared c.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, if you need to write these out one term at a time, to get the first term, 7a squared b gets multiplied by 2a squared. So there wasn't another b, that's why the b just stayed the same. That middle term, I'll again switch colors and put it down below a little bit. The middle term came from 7a squared b times a negative 5b cubed. That's why we had a minus by the 35. And then that last term was 7a squared b times a, b, c. Question? No questions on number 9? All right, we need one more volunteer to help us out with number 10. A new volunteer. Somebody who hasn't helped us at all. Jasmine hasn't helped us yet.
Okay, so -2 g to the third h squared
Good?
plus 3g squared h squared
Good?
g to -10 g to the fifth h to the sixth.
Sounds good to me. Questions on number 10? Okay, of course, when we multiply or distribute a negative into the parentheses, it's going to change all of our signs. Also, all of our exponents would have increased by 1. The g's all went up by 1, h's all went up by 1 when we multiply times gh. No questions, concerns about number 10?